Today I want to tell you about a new light from Godox, and it's this one right here. As you can see, look how small it is. This is going to be a portable solution that you can bring with you anywhere. Let me tell you more about it. First, let's look at the different parts that comes with this kit, and then I'll show you how you can use it in different situations. The first thing that we're going to do is take a look at the light itself. So this is the Godox ML30BI. They also refer to it as the dainty LED light. And you can really get a feel for the size of this when you compare it to my hand. On the front, obviously, we have the LED array and where we'd mount our reflector or any of our diffusers. If we come over to the side, this is what we would use to release any of those reflectors or diffusers. And on the back, we have our LED display. We have the CCT on the left, which controls the color temperature, the dim on the right, which controls the brightness, our power button, and the DC where we can plug in our power. Speaking of power, it comes with this battery holder, which we can use to connect right to the device so that it's portable. Here I have some Sony NPF batteries installed, and if we press the button at the top, we can check the battery levels. Of course, we need something to connect the light to the batteries, so the light also comes with these two cables. This is the top of the battery holder. On the left hand side, you'll see that it has a locking diagram. In the middle on the top of this battery holder, that's a lever that you can slide to release it from the handle, which I'm about to show you shortly. And this is that handle right here. The reason this exists is so that you can make this portable. Now, of course, you can mount this to a light stand, but if you wanted to actually carry this around and bring this outside, you could. I also like the design that they have for mounting the light to this handle, and I wish a lot more manufacturers would continue to implement things this way because it's so much easier to mount them when you have the thumb screw. On the back of this grip, we have these three round pieces where we can mount our battery holder. And here's the back of our battery holder. At the top, you'll see those holes where you can slide those in and use that slide I mentioned on the top to dismount it later on. Now here you can see the battery hooked up to the light, and now we're getting our first look at the LCD screen. And this is what everything looks like once you put it together. As I mentioned before, if you want a powerful light that you want to take outside maybe for a photo shoot or a quick video shoot, now you have this, which doesn't weigh that much at all, and you don't have to worry about plugging it in anywhere, yet it still has a lot of output. So now let's talk about diffusers. Here we're looking at the diffusion dome. You can actually mount it like this, where it's concave at the top, but I'll also show you what it looks like in a little bit in a different configuration. On the bottom we have this plastic piece, which mounts to the front of the light. The other diffuser that you can get for the system is the soft tent. Clearly this is a little bit larger than the diffusion dome, so depending on what type of output you're intending to get would depend on which one of these diffusers that you use. The other option that you have is to just use this reflector. This will obviously focus all of the light in one direction, so if you're really trying to light up a subject, this would probably be your best option. Just remember that this isn't diffusion, so there might be a lot of hard light. And here I have the soft tent fully extended. Again, just based on the shape and its size, it will have a different effect than the diffusion dome would have. And I'll show you some examples of that shortly. Now there is a version of this that isn't bicolor. This one is, so you'll have the temperature range between 2800K and 6500K. So you'll have that really warm orange to that 6500 daylight color. And here, of course, is what the diffusion dome looks like. So now you know what the different pieces are. Let's take a look at some examples. Here we're taking a look at our subject 3 feet from the light with the soft tent mounted and about 1 foot from the wall. It's doing a great job of lighting up our subject and the surrounding areas, and you can notice the soft shadow behind it. For reference, this is the light without any modifier on it. So we have a little bit more output because we don't have a diffuser between the light and our subject, and you can see a clear outline of our subject in the shadow behind it. This is with the reflector on. As you'll notice, all that light is being focused into one area. I used the same settings as I did in the previous examples, but I also took another photo where the subject wasn't so overexposed, and this is what that looks like. I also want to bring your attention to the shadow behind the subject. These are all things that you have to keep in mind depending on which one you want to use. And here we're using the diffusion dome. If you look at the subject, it's a really soft light and there's not a lot of harsh shadows. One of the things that you may have noticed is that it cuts down on the output compared to our other options. Just for a more real-world example, I filmed myself with on the left using the diffusion dome and on the right using the soft tent. The only thing I changed in these two was the diffusion. The light was in the same location about 3 feet from my face. And here I even the exposure a little bit more in post. And what I'm noticing on a subject my size is that yes, you have the brighter output of the soft tent, but despite its large size, which you think would give a softer light, I'm seeing softer shadows with the diffusion dome. If we head to the back of the light and press in the button on the left, we have these options here. We have the Bluetooth option so you can control it remotely. We have an option to turn off the fan. Now I think this light is pretty silent as it is, but if you want this light to be entirely silent, that's where you can turn the fan off. Just keep in mind that if you do that, the highest that you can go is 50% on the output. This isn't an RGB light, but it still comes with a few effects in case you're interested in using any of those. It has common ones that we've seen before, such as lightning, flash, broken bulb, television. With this bicolor one, you also get candle, fire, and firework. And each of those settings has 3 different speed options, with 3 being the quickest. In order to access those, you would press in the button on the right hand side. Speaking of that, if you quickly wanted to cut the power to the light, give that button a short press, it goes to 0, press it again to go back to the percentage you had it set at before. Now, other than using this for a key light, you could also use it for a rim light so it could light up the back of your subject. In fact, I'll show some examples here. First, I'll show you where I don't have that light on. It's off to the right hand side and above the subject pointing down. And here I turned it on and you can see how the light outlines the shoulder area, and that basically just pulls the subject off the background. So we can see these side by side, and you'll notice how the one on the right doesn't blend in with the background as the one on the left does. The other thing that you could use this for is for a photo shoot. If you were to give it the warm temperature and maybe put it behind the subject, it could appear as if it's the sun coming through maybe a tree or some leaves. Now, I was going to provide you with a sample of that, but it's cold where I am right now, so I wasn't able to set up a photo shoot with anyone in order to give you some examples. But if you're interested in seeing something like that, I do plan on shooting a follow-up video with this. So if you're not already, please subscribe to the channel. Now, Godox did provide this to me for a review, but I can say after using it that I can absolutely recommend it. Now, you may be thinking, if I'm going to use something this small, even though it's 30 watts, they have 30 watt flashlights out there. And what I can say to that is you won't have the option for the diffusion, and you won't have the high light quality. And I think the different power options that this has is an added bonus. You can either use D-tap, or you can plug this directly into the wall. Maybe if you were using a hair light potentially at a wedding or some other event, or you could use the battery so that you can carry this around so you can bring it wherever you need it. Thanks for watching. If you want more information, there will be links in the description below. If you're interested in picking up one yourself, there will also be a link for that in the description below. Follow me on Twitter, I'm pretty active over there. If you're interested in more videos like this, there will be a playlist on the screen right now, and I'll see you in the next video.